The sky above the planet Zarian was dark and filled with smoke. The sounds of fighting echoed through the air shouts, clashing weapons and distant explosions. Kayla, a strong and proud alien warrior, fought with all her might. Her bright blue armor was scratched and dented, but she did not care. Her people's survival depended on her strength. Kayla's eyes burned with determination. She swung her energy blade, cutting down enemy soldiers who tried to get closer. The battlefield was a chaotic mess. She could see her comrades falling, one by one, but she refused to give up. The enemy was fierce and fast, pushing harder with every passing moment. Suddenly, Kayla felt a sharp pain in her side. She stumbled, clutching her wound. Blood seeped through her armor. The enemy had found an opening. One of the soldiers raised his weapon, ready to strike the final blow. Kayla's heart raced. She knew this could be the end, but then something unexpected happened. From the smoke and dust, a figure appeared, a human man. He was not wearing heavy armor or carrying huge weapons like the other soldiers. Instead, he had simple clothes and a calm but focused look in his eyes. Without hesitation, he stepped forward. Kayla watched as the human moved quickly and cleverly. Using the environment, he dodged attacks and surprised the enemy. He threw small gadgets that exploded with bright flashes, confusing the soldiers. The human's strange tactics made the enemy pause and lose their rhythm. The soldier who was about to kill Kayla now turned his attention to the human. But before he could act, the human struck with a small but powerful weapon. The soldier fell to the ground, defeated. Kayla gasped, still weak but filled with hope. "Are you all right?" the human asked, his voice steady but kind. Kayla tried to speak, but pain stopped her. She nodded slowly. The human knelt beside her and carefully checked her wound. "Don't worry," he said softly. "I'll get you out of here." With great effort, the human helped Kayla stand. She leaned on him, trusting him, even though she barely knew him. Around them, the battle raged on, but the human guided her through the smoke and chaos with steady steps. Kayla was amazed. This human, so different from her people, was brave and strong in a way she had never expected. He did not fight with rage or anger, but with calm and careful thinking. That made him powerful in a new way. They found a small cave hidden behind rocks, a safe place to rest. Kayla sank down, exhausted but grateful. The human looked at her with concern. "Who are you?" Kayla finally whispered. "My name is Ethan," he replied. "I'm from Earth. I didn't expect to find you here, but I'm glad I did." Kayla looked at him, her blue eyes shining. "Thank you, Ethan, you saved my life." Ethan smiled gently. "We all need help sometimes." Warriors. For the first time in days, Kayla felt a strange warmth inside her heart. She was no longer alone in this fight. A new hope was beginning to grow. Hope that maybe with this human by her side, they could survive and change the future. Outside, the battle was far from over. But inside that quiet cave, two very different beings shared a moment of peace. Neither knew what would come next. But both understood one thing clearly. This meeting was the start of something important. Kayla closed her eyes, breathing deeply. She knew she had been saved, but maybe, just maybe, she had also found a new kind of strength. The cave was small and dim, but it was safe. Kayla sat quietly, her breathing slow and steady, as she tried to calm the pain in her side. Ethan sat nearby, watching her carefully. Though he was tired from the battle, his eyes were full of concern. For a long moment, they said nothing. The silence was comfortable, like a pause in the storm. Kayla was not used to being helped. She was a warrior, strong and independent. But now, she had no choice but to rely on this human. Someone so different. From her own kind, Ethan reached into his bag and pulled out a small medical kit. "I want to help you heal faster," he said softly, "if you let me." Kayla looked at him. The idea of letting someone take care of her felt strange and new. But Ethan's gentle tone made her trust him. She nodded. Ethan carefully cleaned. Her wound, the alien skin, was tough, but the cut was deep. He worked slowly, explaining what he was doing. Kayla listened, fascinated by his kindness and knowledge. She had never met anyone who cared so much without asking for something in return. "You fight well," Ethan said after a moment. "Stronger than most I've seen. Why were you alone on the battlefield?" Kayla's eyes grew distant. "My people, they are scattered. The enemy attacked quickly and with surprise. Many fell before I could help. I stayed to protect the weak." Ethan nodded. "That's brave. You carry a heavy burden." Kayla glanced at him. "And you? Why did you come here?" "Humans are not known for fighting in other worlds." Ethan smiled. Not a soldier. I'm just someone who believes in helping others when I can. When I saw you in danger, I couldn't look away." Kayla felt a strange warmth. Humans were different, yes, but this one was different even among his own kind. He did not judge her or fear her. Instead, he saw her as a person, not just a warrior. "Tell me about your world," Kayla said suddenly. "I want to understand you better." Ethan's eyes lit up. "Earth is full of many people, many cultures. We have strengths and weaknesses, just like your people. But we believe in something important: cooperation. Working together makes us stronger." Kayla listened closely. The idea of cooperation was new to her. Her people respected strength and courage, but alliances were often temporary and fragile. "Trust was hard to come by," Ethan continued. "Sometimes strength is not just about fighting. It's about understanding, patience, and hope." Kayla's heart beat faster. I had lived for battle all her life, but maybe there was more to strength than she had ever known. Outside the cave, the sounds of distant fighting reminded them both of the danger still near. But inside, a different kind of battle was taking place, one of ideas, feelings, and new beginnings. Hours passed. Ethan helped Kayla rest, and she shared stories of her home, her people, and the wars they had fought. In return, Ethan told her about Earth's history, its challenges and victories. Slowly, trust grew between them. Kayla began to see Ethan not just as a stranger, but as an ally, someone she could count on, someone who could help her change the future as the stars appeared in the sky outside. Kayla looked at Ethan with new respect. "You have saved me twice now," she said quietly. "Once with your bravery, and now with your kindness." Ethan smiled, feeling the weight of her words. "We saved each other." For the first time, Kayla allowed herself to hope that their meeting was not a coincidence, that together they could face the challenges ahead, not just as warrior and human, but as friends. The night was calm, but the journey was only beginning. The next morning, soft light filtered into the small cave. Kayla lay on a bed of warm leaves Ethan had gathered. Her wound was still painful, but the sharpest ache had faded. She opened her eyes slowly and saw Ethan sitting nearby, quietly watching the entrance. Kayla sat up with effort. "How long have we been here?" she asked. 2 days, Ethan replied with a gentle smile. "You needed time to heal." Kayla nodded, grateful. The human's care had been unexpected, but it made her feel safer than she had in a long time. She looked around the cave and saw the simple things Ethan had prepared: water, food, and tools. It showed his kindness and thoughtfulness. Ethan stood and stretched. "I want to help you more," he said. "There is much we can learn from each other." Kayla studied him. The idea of learning from a human was strange, but she was curious. In her life, she had always been a warrior first, focused on battle and survival. But now, with Ethan, she saw something new: the possibility of understanding. "Tell me about your world," she said quietly. "What is Earth like?" Ethan smiled, glad she asked. "Earth is a beautiful place, full of different people, animals, and landscapes. Some parts are peaceful, others are dangerous. But most of all, it's a place where people try to help one another, even when it's hard." Kayla listened carefully. She pictured Earth in her mind, a world full of life and hope. It was different from her war-torn home, but in some ways, the struggles were the same. "Do humans fight?" she asked. Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes, sometimes. but we believe fighting should be the last choice. Try to solve problems with words. And kindness first. Strength is important, but compassion is just as strong. Kayla thought about her people's warrior code. Strength and honor came from battle and victory. But now, she wondered if there was another kind of honor, one in protecting and helping others without fighting. Your ways are different, she said softly. But maybe they are not weak. Ethan smiled warmly. They are not. Sometimes. The greatest strength is in understanding and patience. Kayla's eyes met Ethan's, and she felt a connection growing between them. It was more than friendship. It was a bond built on respect and hope. Days passed as Ethan helped Kayla recover. He taught her simple earth techniques to care for her wound. In return, Kayla shared stories of her battles and her people's history. She spoke of bravery, loss, and the heavy weight of leadership. Ethan listened without judgment. He saw her pain and her strength. He admired her deeply. One evening, as the stars shone brightly, Kayla turned to Ethan. You have opened my eyes. Human, I see that strength can be more than just fighting. It can be kindness, patience, and trust. Ethan nodded. I have learned from you too. Your courage and honor inspire me. They sat quietly, the warmth between them growing stronger. Outside, the enemy forces were still a threat, but inside the cave, a new battle was being won. The battle for hope and understanding. Kayla's heart was healing, not just from the wound, but from years of pain and loss. For the first time, she believed that, maybe, with Ethan's help, her people could find a better future. She smiled faintly. Thank you, Ethan, for saving me, for showing me a new way. Ethan reached out and gently squeezed her hand. Are stronger together. As the night grew deep, Kayla and Ethan looked toward the stars, knowing that their journey had only just begun. Together, they would face whatever challenges came next, not as enemies or strangers, but as allies and friends. The days passed quickly, but peace was fragile. One morning, while Ethan and Kayla were preparing a simple meal, a sharp beep echoed from a small device Kayla carried. She reached for it with urgency, her eyes darkening. It's a distress signal. From my home planet, Kayla said, her voice low but filled with worry. The enemy is advancing fast. They threaten the lives of my people. Ethan looked at her seriously. We need to help them. Kayla nodded, though her body was still weak from her injury. I cannot stand by while they suffer. Even if I am not fully healed, I must fight. Ethan placed a hand gently on her shoulder. You don't have to do this alone. I will go with you. Kayla stared at him, surprised by his determination. Are you sure it is dangerous? I am sure, Ethan said with a firm voice. You saved me. Now I want to stand by your side. Kayla felt a new strength rising inside her. Together they would face the danger. Together they would protect. What mattered, they left the safety of the cave and traveled to a hidden outpost where Kayla's people had gathered. The outpost was small, but well guarded. Soldiers moved quickly, preparing for battle. Kayla's arrival brought hope. Her presence reminded them of their warrior spirit. But they also saw Ethan, a human, walking beside her. Some warriors looked confused or doubtful. How could a human help in their fight? Kayla addressed them with confidence. This human saved my life. He fights not with weapons alone, but with courage and wisdom. We need every ally we can find. Ethan nodded, stepping forward. I may not be a soldier, but I will do everything I can to help protect your home. The leader of the outpost, a tall and strong alien named Doran, studied Ethan carefully. After a moment, he nodded. We accept your help. The enemy is cruel and powerful. Every advantage counts. Kayla and Ethan worked together to plan their defense. Ethan shared ideas from Earthways to use the terrain, traps, and teamwork that were unfamiliar but smart. Kayla watched him with growing respect. His mind was sharp and creative, different from the straightforward fighting she was used to. She began to see that strength was not just muscle or weapons, but also thinking and planning. The enemy arrived sooner than expected, dark ships filled. The sky and soldiers stormed the ground. The battle was fierce and chaotic. Kayla fought bravely, her energy blade glowing as she defended her people. Ethan moved beside her, using his gadgets and quick thinking to outsmart the enemy. He guided small groups, set traps, and helped wounded warriors. His courage inspired many. At one point, Kayla was surrounded. Without hesitation, Ethan rushed to her side, fighting off attackers with determination. They covered each other, their bond growing stronger with every moment. Despite the danger, the outpost held. The enemy was pushed back, forced to retreat. The warriors cheered, tired but victorious. Kayla looked at Ethan, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Without you, we would have lost." Ethan smiled, though his body ached. "We did this together. Your people are strong, and so are you." That night, as the stars twinkled above, Kayla and Ethan sat quietly. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. They both knew that. Kayla's heart was filled with a new hope. With Ethan by her side, she believed they could face any challenge. Not just as warrior and human, but as true partners. She reached out and took Ethan's hand. "Thank you for standing with me." Ethan squeezed her hand gently. "Always." In the darkness, their hands held tightly, a promise of friendship, courage, and a future yet to be written. The morning sun rose slowly over the outpost, casting long shadows across the rocky landscape. The battle had been won, but the cost was heavy. Kayla stood outside, watching her people tend to the wounded and repair the damaged defenses. Her heart was heavy with worry, but also with hope. Ethan joined her, carrying a small bag filled with tools and supplies. He had spent the night working with the medics, learning about their ways and sharing his own knowledge. He believed that helping Kayla's people heal was just as important as fighting the enemy. Kayla looked at Ethan and smiled softly. "You have done much to help us. More than I ever expected from a human." Ethan shrugged, a little embarrassed. "I only want to do what's right." Kayla's eyes shone with admiration. "You have shown me that strength is not only in power or weapons, your mind and heart are powerful too." Over the next days, Kayla and Ethan worked side by side. They trained the warriors in new strategies that combined her people's fierce combat skills with Ethan's ideas of teamwork and creativity. They set traps that used the terrain, and they organized small groups to move quickly and quietly, confusing the enemy. Kayla was amazed at how well the warriors adapted. They began to trust Ethan's methods, seeing the results for themselves. The human's presence had become a symbol of hope, a new way forward. One afternoon, while scouting the nearby hills, Kayla and Ethan came across a small group of enemy soldiers hiding in the shadows. The enemy was preparing an ambush. Kayla's warrior instincts screamed to attack immediately, but Ethan held her back. "Wait," he said quietly. "Let me handle this." Using a small device, Ethan sent out a signal that confused the enemies. Communications. Then, with careful movements, he and Kayla surrounded the soldiers, capturing them without a fight. Kayla was impressed. "Your ways are clever and strong." "I never thought of fighting without fighting." Ethan smiled. "Sometimes. The smartest fight is the one you don't have to fight." That evening, the warriors gathered around a fire. Kayla stood before them, her voice clear and strong. "Today, we learn that strength comes in many forms. We are warriors, yes, but we are also thinkers, helpers, and friends. With Ethan's help, we can protect our people and build a better future." The crowd cheered, their spirits lifted. Later, Kayla found Ethan sitting alone, staring at the stars. She sat beside him. "Ethan," she said softly, "your courage and kindness have changed my world." Ethan looked at her, eyes filled. "With warmth, you have changed mine?" For a moment, they shared a quiet peace. Two souls connected across worlds, but deep inside, Kayla knew that more battles were coming. The enemy was strong and would not give up easily. Still, with Ethan by her side, she felt ready. Together, they were not just a warrior and a human. They were a team, unstoppable and united. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. They would face it together. The sun was setting, painting the sky with warm colors. The outpost was quiet after another day of hard work. Warriors were resting, repairing their weapons, and sharing stories around small fires. Kayla walked slowly, thinking about the battles they had fought and the ones still to come. Ethan was nearby, studying a map of the region. His brow was furrowed in concentration, but he looked up when he saw Kayla approach. "Is everything all right?" he asked softly. Kayla hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. "Ethan, there is something I must ask you." Ethan closed the map and looked at her with full attention. "You have taught us much," Kayla began. "Your ideas, your courage, your kindness, they have given my people new hope. But there is something more I want." Ethan nodded gently. "What is it?" Kayla's eyes met his, serious and sincere. "I want you to stay. To teach us more about your ways, about cooperation, patience, and understanding. My people are strong, but we must learn how to be stronger together." Ethan was surprised. He had not expected such a request. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "Because you are different," Kayla said. "You see the world with new eyes. You fight not just with weapons, but with your mind and heart. My people need that. We need to change," Ethan thought deeply. He knew this was not just about battle or strategy. It was about building a future, one where humans and Kayla's people could live in peace and help each other grow. "I will stay," he said finally, "if it means making a difference." Kayla smiled, a bright light in her eyes. "You, Ethan, you do not know how much this means to me." That night, as the stars sparkled overhead, Kayla and Ethan sat together. They talked long into the evening, sharing dreams and hopes. Kayla told Ethan about her childhood, the lessons she learned from her parents, the pride she felt in being a warrior, and the fear she carried for her people's future. Ethan shared stories from Earth of people who faced great challenges but chose kindness and unity over hatred. They found comfort in each other's words, a connection that grew stronger with every moment. The next days were filled with hard work. Ethan began teaching the warriors not just new tactics, but also ways to understand each other better. He encouraged them to listen, to trust, and to work as a team. Kayla watched her people change. Walls of doubt and fear began to break down. Friendships blossomed where there had been only suspicion. One afternoon, Kayla stood before the warriors again. "Ethan has shown us a new way, a way that honors our strength, but also our hearts. Together, we will build a future where we protect each other, not just with weapons, but with trust." The crowd cheered, their voices full of hope. Kayla looked at Ethan, her heart full. She knew that their journey was just beginning, but with him by her side, she believed anything was possible. The first light of dawn touched the horizon, casting soft pink and orange colors across the sky. The outpost was quiet, but a new energy filled the air. Kayla stood on a small hill looking out over the land she had sworn to protect. Beside her, Ethan stood silently, sharing the moment. The battles were over for now. The enemy had been pushed back, but Kayla knew the peace was fragile. Still, something had changed inside her and her people. A new hope had been born, and it was stronger than any weapon. Kayla turned to Ethan, her eyes shining with gratitude and determination. "You came into my world as a stranger, but now you are more than that. You are my friend, my partner, and my strength." Ethan smiled softly. "I never imagined I would find a home so far from Earth, but here, with you and your people, I feel like I belong." They had been through so much together, battle, pain, and fear, but also kindness, understanding, and hope. Their bond had grown beyond anything either of them had expected. Kayla took a deep breath. "There is much to do. My people need to rebuild, to heal, and to learn how to live in this new way." Ethan nodded, "And I will stay to help. We will teach each other, learn from each other, and build a future together." Together, they walked back to the outpost. Warriors gathered around, curious and hopeful. Kayla raised her voice so all could hear. "We have fought hard and lost much, but we have also found something precious, a chance to change. With Ethan's help, we will grow stronger, not just in battle, but in heart and mind." The crowd cheered, their voices full of life and promise. Over the following weeks, Ethan and Kayla worked closely with the people. shared stories, taught new skills, and built friendships. The lessons of teamwork, patience, and trust began to take root. Kayla watched the changes with pride. Her people were becoming more than warriors. They were becoming a community, a family. One evening, as the stars twinkled in the dark sky, Ethan and Kayla sat by a fire. The air was calm, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. Kayla looked at Ethan and smiled. "You have given us a gift that no weapon could hope." Ethan reached out and took her hand. "And you have shown me the true meaning of courage." In that quiet moment, two worlds had come together, not as enemies or strangers, but as friends, allies, and something more. The future was uncertain, but Kayla and Ethan faced it with strength and hope. Together, they would protect their people and build a new path, one where humans and aliens could stand side by side. And as the night deepened, the stars above seemed to shine brighter, as if celebrating a new beginning.